once you've chosen your vase, I'm going to show you how I would use this particular bouquet to make an arrangement. Even though we put all the elements together in a bouquet, I like to separate them out on the counter so that I can see what I'm working with. And I always start with the foliage first. So I'm going to place that in. Another important thing to remember when you're putting together an arrangement is that just because we left the stems this length doesn't mean that you have to. And it's a good idea to vary your stem length based on the size of your container. So I'm going to add a little variety by trimming a few of these stems occasionally. It also means that these are your flowers and it's up to you. If there's a piece on here that you don't particularly like, you can take it off. We call it editing. So once I find the size of the piece that I need, I might trim some of those stem ends a little bit so that it fits into the container and the height that I want the arrangement to ultimately be. Once I've got that foliage in place, I'm going to add some of the really tall vertical flowers. This is our larkspur. Again, if it's got some side pieces on it that you don't want, you can remove. I actually just took one of these off a moment ago. I'm going to leave the other one on because I like the look of that. Now I'm going to move on to some of the snapdragons. I like to vary the height of my snapdragons. There's probably a couple in your bouquet, and so it's nice to have them at different levels in your arrangement. You don't want everything to be all at one particular height. It's not very visually interesting to look at. Feel free to remove, and you should remove any leaves or other parts that might be below the water line in your vase. So now I'm going to move on to the Sweet William. I'm going to pull off some of these leaves because they would be too low. And I'm going to use some of the bigger, the heavier headed flowers down lower in the vase. And the reason that you do that is because that's how flowers grow naturally. The larger the head, usually the closer to the ground it is. It needs a stronger stem to be able to hold it. And so in nature, it feels more balanced for that to be down low in the arrangement than to have a flower with a big head that's up high. We'll do that again with the peonies in just a moment. I've got a little extra piece of larkspur that I had pulled off. I'm going to just cut that down and put it in as well. So now I'm going to add in my sweet pea vine. I'm going to cut off this extra little leaf that's there because I think it's going to tangle on things. And because it's kind of airy, I'm going to put it into the side so it can kind of hang over to one edge. Remember, if there's any pieces on your flowers that you don't particularly like or that might be bruised or somehow got damaged in transit, you have permission to take those off. Matter of fact, you should. All right, I'm going to finish adding in the roses that I have here, and then we'll take a look at this and see what else it needs. So what you can see is that I'm starting to fill in different layers on this. And so now I'm going to move on to my ranunculus, sort of the stars of the show. And just like I did with the others, I'm going to put these in at different heights so that it's more visually interesting, which means that I trim down that stem quite a bit. And that's okay. Don't be afraid to cut your stems. Measure twice though first. I'm going to put these at a different height, but on the other side. And then, I thought I had one more. Oh, I do. This one's got a really nice long strong stem, so I'm going to leave it as is so that it adds a little bit of height, and it's going to go up in the back. I've got a poppy with a really nice strong stem to it. I'm going to put her right in the middle. And then last but not least, I've got the stars of the show, the peonies. And oh my gosh, they smell so good. Depending upon what was in your bouquet, your peony may be very full and open like this, or it may be more tightly budded up. Either way, it's fine. You can trim the stem however you want it to fit in the arrangement, but know that these budded peonies are going to open completely. So for this one, again, because it's a really large-headed flower, I want it to sit lower in the arrangement. So I'm going to trim that stem down, and I'm going to put her front and center in the middle of this. The bud, it's got a little bit smaller head, so I'm going to put it a little bit higher up in the arrangement, and that's going to be really nice as it opens. If I had one that was really full and open like this, you could put it up, but look at the size of that stem. To me, in nature, when you see peonies growing, if you have these at your house on the plant, once that opens, it starts to droop because the head is just too heavy for the stem. That means it needs to be shorter, especially in your arrangement. So I'm going to trim that down and put that just above the other one into the middle. So here, you might have a few extra or slightly different flowers in your arrangement, but I want to show you how this turned out. So see how the peonies are on different levels? You've got the really full flower that's lower down in the arrangement. Notice how the scale of the arrangement is not out of proportion to the size of the container. Imagine if I had put it into this really tall one. Everything would be jammed up and not able to see each face in it. So this is our arrangement. It smells fabulous because of the peonies. So I hope this video has helped you enjoy your bouquet a little bit longer. Remember that whichever vase you choose, check that water level, especially for the first few days. It makes a huge difference if you're keeping the water especially clean and if you can recut the stems every day or so. So check on the water in that vase and enjoy them as long as possible.